Welcome everyone back to the Marvel Snapcast podcast. I'm your host, Ken, aka the Super Tech God. That gentleman you guys heard, that crazy gentleman that has every variant in the game.
Wait, hold on. Every variant?
Every variant?
Every variant. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we're here with our co-host, the one and only, it's Guess Gaming. Guess, how you been, buddy?
Working hard and barely sleeping.
I believe that. And I know why, too.
Best way to word it.
For sure. I believe that. And of course, we're here, as always, the wonderful guest, the one and only Gunny T. Gunny, how you feeling?
Man, I'm pumped and ready for the next Golden Gauntlet. I tell you what, things have been moving, been trucking along. We have so many players signed up. I'm super excited for it. I'm ready. Every time one of these comes up, I'm just ready for game day. I can't wait. Like, there's so much fun in it to like see what deck is going to pull out the win. It's just, I'm amped. I'm amped for the players. We keep having repeat players that are coming back, just positive energy. So many people loving it. It's a great time. It's almost like I used to go to big Magic the Gathering conventions for tournaments.
Okay.
And we almost have that feel in our Discord, like our tournament Discord, where people are just chatting about the game, you know, the whole time. Ever since we went live, people have been talking, playing with each other, testing decks. So I'm excited and I'm ready for it. And we will talk about that a little bit later.
That is correct. Because we got a lot to talk about, guys. I mean, we always say that, but I mean, for real, this is a lot to really talk about. Man, okay, so first, kudos out to the wonderful Second Dinner for changing the way they do their Super Premium Pass. So I know we had this conversation amongst ourselves and online and on Twitter, and it was a bunch of back and forth. You know, we all felt certain ways about it. But this way, I think, is the perfect way to do it. I'm not seeing a lot of people give them their props for it, which I understand, right? You give people their props when you want to, but you really attack them when they do something wrong. So I want to say kudos to them for that. Start off with that. Now, the cards that we have, a plethora of cards. Before we dive into them, I want to know your take, both of you. How you guys feel about getting these 5 cards one shot? Now, before you answer, I remember some time ago, I would say, hey, we should get not 5. We should get a lot of cards so that the meta could be different and each content creator can grab a certain card and do something great with it. Now that it is reality, how do you guys feel about these 5 cards coming in one shot?
I'm overwhelmed. As someone who's not collection complete, you know, I'm sitting at around, I normally float around 20K tokens because, you know, I've always got to make sure that I have tokens to make decks if I need to.
Right.
You know, so I feel like I'm always behind. It is overwhelming, and I feel like I need to wait for the data. And unfortunate part about that is I tend to wait till the card has rotated out of, you know, like being able to purchase it right away. It's in the packs. So it's something I have to like wait for in the shop because I'm not going to roll for the packs because I'm still missing some cards there. So it could take time. You know, if I see a deck that I want to play, sometimes it takes me a few days to actually get the card for it. I actually want to play Nightmare, and I haven't seen Nightmare pop up in my shop.
Wow. Okay. Guess, how do you feel about these 5 cards this season, one shot?
I mean, let's be honest. We're going to have to get used to this new cadence. This seems to be the balance of what they're going to continue to do moving forward.
Right.
Therefore, it's not even a matter of how do I feel, is more, am I ready for this to be the new normal? And I know a lot of people, yourself included, talked about, like you mentioned kind of earlier, the idea of getting a lot of different cards all at once, and then different people could do different things. I think the way that you leaned to that, though, was more leaning in the direction of kind of what we had when they first announced Series 4.
Oh, yeah. Different people get different things. Yes, you're right. You're right.
And
you're right.
The reason that didn't work this time is because so many people have so many resources also banked up that unlocking a ridiculous amount of cards for now, keywording, for now, for those players, it is attainable. And to stay collection complete, comparatively, it is a little bit more expensive than it was 6 months ago, but not dramatically, to be honest. Even with all of these cards, your activity does justify your balance, if you will. I think that getting 5 cards in the beginning of the month, the way that they've done them in regards to like how synergetic or not synergetic they all are with each other, I think that's incredibly healthy. I like how diverse these cards are. from each other, and it's not just one archetype only. This isn't the Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
sorry, not Silver Surfer. This isn't Invisible Woman First Steps.
Right.
With all of the other like that. Obviously, that month was meant for everybody to be working together in some capacity.
Right.
This season has a lot of everything all over the place already in week 1, and that has helped the meta shift up a little bit organically. So I like the way that they're doing it now. I think they made a great call with the Sparky change, allowing players to use tokens. It is definitely a downside that it was bumped up to a Series 5, but at the same time, I think it's an incredibly smart business decision because it gives players choice, but also increases the value of what the super premium season pass does as well, and justifies the extra $10 by doing so. So I'm a fan of the whole thing overall. I don't see too much in the downside.
Agreed. Good call on that.
You know, talking about not being a collection complete, having the option to get another Series 5 card for $10, that's good for me, right? I know not everybody's able to or wants to spend $20 a month. But I do. I love the option to spend $10 extra and get another Series 5 card.
Yes, and for me, all my wonderful collectors out there, being able to get a variant now for $10, I think is worth it, right? Because now you get the card, the variant. It's beautiful. So I'm really on board. Both of you guys, great answers. I feel the same way. Overwhelmed as well as, like, okay, we have to get used to this because you're right. I think the goal of this is to make sure that they have cards in these packs. So if people do open them, they at least get more than just one card and they feel happier when they say, hey, I got 3 cards, 1 pack. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the goal, and we need to get to that point in Snap. So I think that's what's really happening. And I agree with you 100%, Guess, that I'm glad it's not just one archetype. It's a plethora throughout all 5 cards. So speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and kick things off with our review for the first card. Well, and that is, of course, the one and only Viv Vision. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen so all our wonderful watchers can actually see exactly what we're talking about. And Viv Vision is Series 5 card, the Premium Pass card as well. She is a 3/2. At the start of each turn, give all your cards in your hand +1 power if you're winning here. Otherwise, move this to another location. Now, this card is my favorite card thus far out of the 5 cards that we have, and we're going to do something a little different this time. So I'm going to go ahead and have Guest and Gunny give their reviews on it, what they feel about the card, their rating, and then I'm going to jump back to myself and show you guys the deck that I've been using that helped me get from 73 to 88. So, Gunny, since you're the guest here, we're going to let you go first. Number 1, did you get the season pass yet?
Yeah, I've snapped by the premium season pass.
That's right, you said you get both. Right. How did you feel about Viv Vision?
Yeah, Viv Vision seems like a great card. It's fun. I like the mini game that comes along with it of, are we going to continue to try to win this game? Much like the Iron Patriot mini game has been played since that card came out. And I think once it starts snowballing, especially if you're building a deck that benefits from powering itself up, it can be really good. I mean, there's a total of 3 extra power you can get, or I guess 4. Let's see, on turn 3, 4, 5. So yeah, you're getting 3 extra power on some of your cards. That's a lot of power. I do think you need to deck build for it. There's 2 considerations. One is considerations for cards that have low cost, high power, such as maybe like Maximus. Obviously, there's downside there. Maybe Lizard, trying to get that early. That way you can win that lane. But then 2, what cards benefit from getting those buffs, such as, your Sebastian Shaws, your Broods, things like that.
Fair. So overall, what kind of review would you give it? You remember the review scale? Do you want me to break it down again?
I think I'm going double. I think double gold. Double gold seems pretty good for me.
Wow. Okay. All right. Listen, that's a good one. I like that. Guess, how do you feel about Viv Vision?
Viv Vision, it's a card that wants to be really good. It really does. It's trying so hard to be a really good card. And it is either 1 cost or 1 power away from doing so. I think that at 3/2, they took the cautious approach because I don't know if you saw it back on the data mines previously, but originally this card was supposed to release as a 3/3. And then like the week before, I want to say, it was either week before or 2 weeks before, they changed it down to a 3-2.
Right.
And I'm not 100% sure why, but they did. And my personal suspicion is that they were scared of this card being too strong at 3-3 on release, which is so contradictory to what their typical adjustment philosophy is. They've repeatedly said they'd rather have something release overtuned and then tune it down to create balance, rather than undertune it and then have to buff it up later. That's very contradictory. But this month, we have an OTA on the 11th, a patch on the 16th, and an OTA on the 25th. So there are 3 different opportunities for them to adjust this card within the month that it is released. I think that they do that. I honestly do. Wow. I think they make Viv Vision a 3-3. I don't know if they do it immediately on the first OTA or if it's going to happen in one of the later ones, but I do see this being adjusted. I think that the idea of the card is incredibly good, and at 3-3 it can still be mitigated, but it is every deck that I've wanted to play Viv Vision in, I end up cutting it because it just does not do the thing that it wants to do, which is win lanes. And because of that, I just constantly feel like this is not worth my time. So I end up cutting it. So I think this is at 3-2, it's a gold, but you get the season pass because it's the season pass.
Okay, listen, that's fair. Fair points taken. Then I can say about that, I agree. I'm leaning more towards the Gunny side, though. I'm going to say double gold or platinum, and that's because of the ability that she has. I do understand her being a 3-3 would be better, but I'm going to show you guys the list that I put her in as to why I give her that double gold status. All right, so we go ahead and share that deck list, and then you guys can tell me how you feel, if I'm coping or what the case is, but we're going to see how this looks shortly. So let's go ahead and pull up the list for you guys to
especially
see.
when the season starts too, it's always, data is always skewed. And I'm not saying that it's a skill issue or anything, or it's very much that it's a different concentration of players for the first 5 days more than anything else. And what Viv Vision wants to do,
oh man, you did it,
will be more successful, not in infinite.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair to say. So I'm going to show you guys what I have here. I hope you guys can see the screen. I'm sure you guys can. What we did, what I did here was build a Aunt Viv deck. I call her Aunt Viv. That's what she is, right? So I had to throw Agony in the deck, right? So the game plan here is to play Agony and, of course, play Viv Vision on top of Agony, okay? So if I go through the whole play line, you can see turn 1 Agony, turn 2 Armor in a different lane, turn 3 Viv Vision on top of Agony, making her 5 power, right? Most cases you could win that lane. She starts buffing the Broods, the Sebastian Shaws, even the Human Torch, or even the Fallen One. Because again, the goal is to play the Fallen One on turn 5 and then be able to play your entire Surfer hand out the way you would like to. So in most cases, that does happen. All right, I'm able to play 1 Agony, 2 Armor in a different lane, 3 Vision on top of Agony, 4 Shuri in the Armor lane, 5 Fallen One on top of Shuri. Then on turn 6, I have a field day. Okay, if that does not happen, the craziest part about this whole thing is that, of course, you could still do the Human Torch Galactus stuff with Brood, or you can go ahead and do something else that I started doing after this deck building, which was take out Forge and throwing Silver Surfer the first steps, right? First steps, yeah, Silver Surfer. Because that one also gets crazy when you're able to play that on 3, Shuri on top of that on 4, and then get a 20 power Fallen One on turn 5. So on turn 6, you play out your entire hand. Viv Vision works well in this list strictly to buff those cards I mentioned. Brood, Sebastian Shaw, Human Torch, or even the Fallen One. Because the Fallen One is a 5/6, as we mentioned last week. Being able to get that extra energy on turn 6 is what he should have been in the first place, a 5/6. So that's how I've been playing this list, and I've been climbing with it because of that consistency, to be honest, of it being able to buff these extra cards and helping me get over the top in those other lanes. Like I said, the only change I've made was the Forge change into Silver Surfer first steps, just so I can get that double buff with Shuri into the Fallen One and just have 20 energy that final turn to drop everything else I need. So that's kind of the list I wanted to show you guys as to why I gave it such the rating I gave it. Before I get off this page, how you guys feel? Am I coping? Am I talking recklessness? What do you guys feel?
I don't think you're talking recklessly. For our audio listeners, the 12 cards are Agony, Forge, Armor, Brood, Human Torch First Steps, Red Guardian, Silver Surfer, Viv Vision, Sebastian Shaw, Shuri, Galacta, the Fallen One. I like the shell of what you've got here, and I see the play lines that you're referring to, and it reminds me very much so of the Splat deck or the TLSG deck, which was the, Magic, Sarah, Onslaught, and then just drop all of the chaos, all of the 1-costing 3-cost cards. Yeah, just
right.
That's what this reminds me of, because I did something kind of similar with the ongoing shell for the Fallen One, where it's about just get as much energy as possible and then just make it rain on turn 6.
Right.
I like that this takes that approach. But if you're taking out Forge for Silver Surfer First Steps, I would also take out Galacta for Gwenpool. And that gives you a secondary line for power up.
All right.
And every deck I've played so far that has those 2 cards in it together is strong. And I think this deck could definitely benefit from that just as much so. But I see the play lines. I'm going to try that variation that I'm talking about out.
Okay.
Because I do think it needs to have, the Red Guardian, I think, is a mandatory play in this deck.
Yes.
The armor, I understand the scare, but that's my only real question card.
So because without armor, I didn't have armor there before. I had what's her name? American Chavez. And the majority of the time when I was buffing, because sometimes if I didn't want to buff Fallen One, I could buff at least Sebastian Shaw or even Human Torch. And those cards would be above the 10 line. So on turn 6, Shang-Chi is destroying that whole lane. So now I have to focus on trying to win the other 2. So I've lost a couple of games because of Shang-Chi destroying my Fallen One or my Sebastian Shaw early, or even my Human Torch early enough because I had no protection. So I took out American Chavez and threw in the armor. And again, the Forge, I did swap out for the Fallen for Step. So that's the reason why armor's in here, to protect those cards on that final turn, because now you're going to have to try to get bigger than that lane. In most cases, that lane is a 31 power, especially if you have armor, the Silver Surfer First Steps, Shuri, and Fallen One. That whole lane is 31 power. So you're going to have to try to beat that. I'm not even worried about that at that point. You can't Shang-Chi it, so you got to get bigger than it. So you know what? That's one lane I can say I have. And then most times when I snap before playing the Fallen One and they see that happen, they leave, right? Because they're like, all right, you have 20 energy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. I was gonna ask about the possibility of Cosmo, so that way there's a little more surface energy. But then I realized the problem is the Shuri protection.
Yes, correct. Yes, so there it is. So that's the reason why armor was in there.
I like the deck though.
Yeah. All right, cool. So again, guys, something different we're gonna do. We're gonna start showing our decks pause of the card that we liked the most out of the whole week, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Gunny, any questions, concerns, or feelings?
I was actually thinking about this as I was talking about Viv Vision. I think Agony is one of the best cards to play with it, because you want to keep winning that Viv Vision lane.
Yes.
And then one of the things you're going to run into is filling that lane up, right? You want to put some power in there early, drop, something else on top of it. Now you haven't eaten a spot up, even dropping it late, right? Maybe turn 4, you had Viv Vision down and you drop maybe a Red Guard or Agony and then Red Guardian, right? Just adding extra power there without eating up those slots. Real smart. I like that.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, try it out. Let me know your thoughts. Again, try it with Guest said. I do like the switching out to Galacta, because on the last turn she doesn't give that buff when you play her. So it's like, you know what? But even so wouldn't what's her name. But either way, I think what's her name is better than Galacta. To be honest, you're absolutely right, because she gives more on that turn. So if we do play her on turn 4, I'd rather buff my hand than worrying about buffing the Brood on the next lane or the Shaw, because Surfer will still do his job. So I definitely will swap out Galacta for Gwenpool.
I think the last thing that I want from that deck, personally, is about half of the gold in your account, Mr. Flexing 29,000 gold.
It should be less, because I did purchase the War Machine bundle, but I didn't refresh my game. So 24K now, if that's the case.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 24K. Let's be fair. All right, so on to the next card that came alongside the one and only Viv Vision, and that is the Sparky, right? Sparky came out, and Sparky did some awesome things. I'm going to pull it back up on the screen for our wonderful viewers. Sparky is a Series 5 card, as guests mentioned. Series 5 card for $10. Variant, why not? This card is 2-1. Activate, give your card that last moved +3 power, and move it back to its previous location. Not starting, but previous. And the deck I built around this was pretty fun, right? Because you're looking at move for sure. That's the first thing you need to look at. But I'm not going to get too deep into it. But the goal was to have Human Torch down, do some shenanigans with Sparky to get him to at least a 30 power card, and then play Frigga on turn 4. That was the madness that I was doing every game. And it was working perfectly because Sparky on turn 2 and then doing all the madness worked out very well with using Human Torch. So in the beginning, I thought Sparky with Viv Vision would make the most sense, but that first night was horrible. Couldn't win my games because, again, Viv Vision being a 3 cost, Sparky being a 2, and all the other cards you want to play on turn 3, you rather play first, became a problem. So Sparky by itself in a move deck, I really enjoyed, had a blast climbing with it. And I have to give Sparky 1,000% 1,001% a platinum. How do you feel about Sparky, Gunny?
I mean, Sparky's just a terrifying card, right? Human Torch alone, getting up to immense power is kind of crazy. One thing I do like about that in particular is that if you're waiting to like later turns, and let's say it's turn 5 and you obviously like have a Human Torch on the board, then as an opponent you can know where that Human Torch is going to go, right? Obviously depending on what else they might want to move, but it gives you some kind of lead. I think it's a very powerful ability, and I like the fact that it's an on and activate instead of on like an on reveal.
Right. And sometimes the opponent won't know because you could have moved it from another location back to another location, and then Sparky puts it back. So it's like you catch your opponents off guard really quickly, which I like. Okay. But you also play yourself out of the game because you got to remember now, okay, what did I do last turn? Where did I move it? Wait, did I move it here? Was it starting here? Did I start? Like that happened a lot too. So I agree with you. It's terrifying because it is activate, and I'm happy it is activate. It's one of the activate cards I think is phenomenal. So what do you give it as your rating?
I think I'm going to go, man, this is a tough one. I'm going to put this one at, I'm going to put it at platinum. I really am.
Let's go.
I think
I love it.
Strong enough to, we're going to see decks with this. I have a feeling we're going to see this in the Golden Gauntlet.
Yep. I guess. How do you feel about Sparky? Good dog.
The thought going into playing Sparky was embracing the fact that it has targeted move. Specifically knowing that it has the ability to put a card back where it came from, and you know 100% where it's going to be every time. There's a lot you can do with that, especially when you can do things like delay, where you put Sparky down, you do a move on turn 3, even if it's something small like, a Nightcrawler, right? You do the move on turn 3, and then turn 6, you can activate Sparky and move it back. That kind of power is a lot for this little doggo. And I had a guy today play Zorn, Aranya, Ghost Spider, Sparky, and Human Torch all by turn 5. And on turn 5, when they dropped that Human Torch, on the turn it dropped, turned it into a 38 power card. Because Sparky was able to specifically bring the card right back with an extra move at the very end. And it's just wild to watch what this card can help proc. Hercules has relevance again.
Yep.
Because you can play Hercules later after Sparky's down, do the move stuff, and then later move something back into the Hercules lane, like to get an extra bounce. Like there's some crazy move shenanigans with Sparky, and it's going to continue to be a test card, which was the hope of, look, move is going to be the big brain deck. It's going to be the difficult deck. And if you master it, you're going to do incredibly well. I expect Sparky to be also in the Golden Gauntlet tournament. I expect Sizer to be running Sparky specifically. He's famous for his move decks. And I think with this card, it's just wild to see what he's going to cook up with it as well. I think that this is, unfortunately, a better card than Viv Vision, which is all of the chaos built into, you know, Marvel Snap all at once, which is why I think they also buff Viv Vision. I think this is a platinum, potentially double platinum.
From that standard, you're right. I think it is better because it's in the platinum range, but this is strictly for move, where Viv Vision can be played in multiple decks. What do you mean? Oh, that's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not strictly for move. But you're going to see more people play it in the move deck than you will see in any other card list.
You're just like you're going to see Viv Vision in hand buff more than any other card list. It's the same thing. But Sparky's use cases will be expanded upon because if there's anything we know from the experience of Marvel Snap, it's that +3 always gets nerfed.
Yeah, it gets nerfed.
And once people realize the power of +3 plus a delayed targeted move, you're going to see Storm make reappearances. You're going to see Prof X. You're going to see some real chaos happen because of this card, and it's going to take time, and I'm calling it now. Sparky is going to end the season as a better card than Viv Vision if they do not buff Viv Vision by the end of the season.
You just blew my mind, Guess. I didn't even think about that. I was only thinking about move. But imagine this: Ghost Spider was just buffed, right? A 1/3 Ghost Spider in a deck that just likes buffs, such as, you know, playing it on a Captain Carter, playing it on Sebastian Shaw, any of that stuff. That's wild. Playing on a Lasher, right? Like,
move him into a lane, and there you go. No, I agree. But I think Viv Vision is a good card the way she is, though. I think she's a fair card, and I think that's one of the most perfect cards or season pass cards from that standpoint that Second Gen has ever put out, because it's not too OP, it's not too bad, it's right in the middle. And I think because of that, I don't think they change it.
I think they do, because if a season pass is mid, it's not good for business. A season pass needs to be above average, and if it becomes too good, then they drop it down once it's more publicly available in tokens and snap packs and all that kind of stuff. I think that they have to have, for a business standpoint, a season pass be a good card.
Okay, listen, I'm not going to argue with Second Gen Employee of the Month. I'm just saying we're going to leave that right there. Then next on the list, out of the 5 cards, our third card here is Moira X. When this is destroyed, get a copy of your opening hand. Now, she's a 1/2, so it's easy to destroy this card. She, to me, has one of the best animations out of all the 5. Oh, no, I think she got the first best. The next card I'm going to talk about has the second best. But nonetheless, Moira, I played this card a few times. I do think she is in the deck that is probably the strongest list going into the gauntlet, and that's the hand buff. The Victoria hands, getting those 110 demons on the board, you know, being able to get your whole hand going again, be able to play that wonderful misery card. I think Moira's core deck is in one of the best decks going into the tournament this weekend. And this card, to me, I'm definitely giving this a double goal. That's how I felt about it. Playing with it, it's been awesome. The only most difficult part about it is, of course, getting to destroy it as early as you want to, because we don't pull that Carnage, that Killmonger, or whatever you need to destroy it. It just sits there on the board, and that's one of the worst things about it. I wish somehow you could have done something else to get it destroyed early, but nonetheless, this card to me is a double goal. Gunny, how do you feel about Moira?
How are you destroying this in your Victoria hand list?
I'm using Killmonger.
Okay.
Killmonger. Yes, I'm using Killmonger.
I think Moira. So it's really funny. Obviously, coming from several different card games before this text could not be in a different card game. Basically, draw 3 cards is insane. But in Marvel Snap, you're limited to your 6 turns. So a lot of times you're not playing all the cards in your hands anyways. There are times where this being destroyed is going to completely win you the game. but there are times where your opening hand just doesn't matter. Like, what's the location that gives you a copy of your opening hand?
I know you're talking about the blue really location, but yes,
when you fill it up.
Yeah.
There are times where I see that location, I'm like, wow, I really want to do this. But I really think, obviously, you're going to build your deck for it. But there are multiple times where I'm like, I could care less if I get a copy of my opening hand.
Yeah.
That's fair. So
I think this card is silver.
Silver. Okay. All right. Guess. How do you feel? Moira.
I think by the end of the month, this card ends up being the best of the 5 cards to release this week.
Wow. Okay.
I said by the end of by the weekend, but go ahead. Yes. Let's hear it.
No, it's not going to happen by the weekend. I don't think it's going to be at the Golden Gauntlet. Okay. I think this is something that will evolve, and really good players are very interested with this card. They are trying to find the balance of copy in hand and how many cards can fit in your hand. How often are you filling your hand? Are you still able to draw? Like, once we find the balance of what that is, Moira X, I think, ends up being a very, like, its own archetype of strength. I saw, like, I was doing a bunch of different tests with this card. We tried Airwalker and Morgan Le Fay. We tried hand buff, a bunch of stuff, like you said, with Victoria Hand. We also tried Dormammu, which, fun note, Moira X copies the entire opening hand, including cards that start in your hand. So you also get that first initial summon. So you get 4 cards in your opening hand in Dormammu decks, not 3. So there were some really cool things that this card wants to do, but no one has found the balance list that says this is consistent and this is doing what you want it to do. Right now, it's a in limbo card. But I tell you, by the end of the month, this will be an incredibly strong card that will turn into a snap condition, where people say, ooh, I drew this and this, snap. Because now I just run this combination and I put a ridiculous amount of points on the board somehow. I think we need more time, but this will be a fine wine card. I'm going to say for now it's gold. By the end of the season, double platinum.
Listen,
strong take.
I love it. I just think we're going to see in the gauntlet. We're going to see what happens. I feel that way too. You minus the Devil Dino card lists and all those other lists you think about. Every other list is just somehow it gets on top, and it's like, wow, like my hand's full, and it's like, what's going on here? And it's been great. I do believe that. I feel the same way as you guess. It's going to be with that card come the end of the season. All right, next on the list we have a card that has one of my favorite words in it, and that is Awesome Andy, ladies and gentlemen. He is a 2/1, a Series 4 card. Activate, give on give. What? Give on give. Give on give one of your cards at each other location, +2 power. Awesome Andy is a fun card. I did play with this card and Moira at some point just to test out how these cards work together, if they do at all. But in the cool card list that you can build to give those other cards each +2 power, you think about this as a better Herbie, right? It is a fun card. I do enjoy it. I think for what it does is perfect. Nothing too crazy, nothing too over the top. I'm definitely giving this a double silver. That's how I feel about Awesome Andy. Gunny, how do you feel about Awesome Andy?
I don't like Awesome Andy. I think it's a bad card.
Activate +2 to each other card. On the last turn, you want to win that lane by 1 point? Okay.
I think 2/5 stats total isn't really enough. If you're building your deck for it, you want very specific cards hit, which you can obviously try to stack lanes up appropriately. But as we know from trying to play Nomura, that can be difficult sometimes. I think this card's not even silver. What's before silver? Plastic?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think this card sees play.
Okay. All right. Guess your take.
So in regards to Awful Andy,
awful. Jesus.
He did something I don't think we've ever seen in Marvel Snap, which is create a new category here on the Snap cast. I consider this card paper. It is below plastic.
Wow.
I think I called some wood once, didn't I?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
This is thinner than wood. This is a sliver of wood. The actual printed card version of this by that guy who's monetizing illegally off of Marble Snap, that guy's version of Awesome Andy is better than this version of Awesome Andy. This is a card where, Gunny, you hit a major point on it. It's 2/5 total power spread out. It is nowhere near close to enough, even with the targeting by saying it is one of your other cards at each other location. This is not a better Herbie. Herbie is a better Herbie. Awesome Andy needs more to justify itself as 2/1. The same exact thing happened to Toxie Doxie. Came out as a 2/1, added the 2+2s to 2 random cards in your hand with the condition of you have to wait, and the total stats were 2/5, and all of us said, this is absolute dog water. I think Awesome Andy gets a buff also in the future. Probably, I'm going to guess the 26th OTA, because they're going to take a week to see the data and no one wanting to ever play this card. And then they either make him a 2/3 or they give him +3 power. Because as of right now, Awesome Andy is not awesome. He is dog, water, paper, wet paper, wiped paper, bad. Just all of the bad.
I would be much more interested in seeing this as a gives +3 power. I think the ability to buff lanes, because you want to play this in a lane you're going to lose, right? So play this play that in that lane, you know, your throwaway lane, buff up your other 2 lanes by +3, and now you're talking a 2/7. That's decent stat. I mean, that's premium stats with the you know, obviously that it doesn't work if you play it on turn 6. So drawn late still bad. That's your downside for having an activate card.
Do we have a card that doubles activates?
Yeah. I was thinking about that too.
Eventually.
So I guess we'll wait to see how we feel about that going forward. Yeah. Nah,
not yet.
I did not. I'll turn it down if need be. All right, so you guys think this card is trash as shit. Okay, no problem. I like the card, but you know what? It is what it is. Awesome Andy, he says hello, just like my other favorite card in the game that we won't mention today. Now, let's go on to our final and 5th card of this week, and that is the card with the second best animation this week, and that is one and only Omega Sentinel. She is a 4/3 Series 4 card. Activate. Afflict the highest power enemy card with -7 power. Now, when playing with this card, I had a blast. What I did not know the first time I played with her was that she does the highest power card. Doesn't matter what lane you're in. I thought she was going to hit the one in the lane that I was in to win the game, and I lost that game because she went and shot the card all the way to the right. And I said, chat, you guys didn't warn me. You should, you know what I mean? Should have told me, guys, any high power card in any lane, not the one that I'm in. Nonetheless, I learned from that mistake, and I saw the potential in this card. She is phenomenal. Not only in Affliction, but any type of list, you want that one final surprise, that -7 on your highest power card, and it does damage. So for me, I think this card definitely gets a platinum for me. And yeah, I like this card a lot. It definitely get a platinum. It's a 4/3, -7. What does that put? What stats does that give you? 411, right? That's something that
10.
You like, right?
Oh my God, you deal with numbers.
Oh yeah,
for a
410.
living.
Sorry. I was looking at the costs. I was looking at the 4 on the left. So I went 711. That's what I was thinking.
Do you need a multivitamin?
No, I do not. I'm totally fine. Thank you very much. But Gunny, how do you feel? We asked my pusher over there. Multivitamin pusher.
I don't think this is platinum. I think right now this is actually like silver, to tell you the truth. Like, think about it.
Okay.
410 on stats.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. I don't know. I don't see. I think once we get our double activates doing -14 power, now you're talking. But 410 stats, I just don't think it's good enough in this state, this economy.
But with the rest of the Affliction, you think about Diamondback.
What are you taking out? But the Affliction deck's pretty tight. What are you taking out of that deck? I'm not playing this over.
Yeah, Laufey can go. We don't need Laufey damaging us. Go ahead and take out your opponent's highest power card.
So the important part about Laufey, though, is he buffs up your Ajax so much. He's hitting every card there. This is only hitting one card.
But guess what? You have a Hazmat for that.
That's one card. Like, what happens if you don't draw Hazmat? That's where you get your other hits from. I don't know. I don't think this takes out Laufey. Laufey's a good card. Laufey's like a lane winner itself. You're definitely not taking out Man-Thing.
Yes,
You
yes,
can.
you do.
You
a
can
lot
take
of,
out Man
lot of the
Thing.
decks aren't running Man Thing anymore because they're playing Diamondback.
Because they're playing that. Right, you go. About to say, you got Diamondback for that. Ooh, chat's a lot of discussion. You guys let us know in the comments how y'all feel about any of this, because all my Affliction fans, let us know how you feel. Now, like I said before, we're going to do something a little different here. Guess.
Hey, do I get a say in this?
Yeah, I'm going right to you. You heard me say guess, right? You said you
Okay,
cut me
good.
off. Chat, let me know down below if you heard me say now guess, right? You heard me say that. So like I was saying, we do something a little different here. So now Guess is going to show his deck, pause, and he's going to talk about how he feels about this card and why this is one of his favorite cards this week, before he rudely interrupted me like I wasn't going to show off his stuff. Jeez Louise.
Exactly. I mean, look, it's one of the only ways you're going to be able to show off my deck on stream. So sure, might as well, have some fun with it.
There you go. So
it's a limited time event, so we gotta do it right.
There it is.
Go ahead and zoom that on in there. I want to talk about C3, because C3 really loved having this card. Really, really loved. Out of all of the initial decks I built, this was the highest performing deck of Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's bizarre, but it is worth explaining. So it's called C3 Tech. It's Ghost Spider, Cobra, you heard me right, Gorgon, Scarlet Witch, Sentinel, U.S. Agent, Cerebro, Mystique, Luke Cage, Cosmo, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and then Omega Sentinel. Now, this deck is doing several different things all at once. Number one, the U.S. Agent is a very strong card with this deck because we're seeing a lot of 4 and 5s getting played because of all of the synergies that we're seeing with the Wiccan builds and the Gwenpool builds. So having U.S. Agent at your disposal always feels good. Cobra, which is the one I need to focus on the most, really surprised the hell out of me. The amount of play that Cobra ended up seeing was higher than I ever anticipated for that card. Destroying, whether it was the Mysterio clones, because we're seeing the Sasquatch builds already start to reemerge with Viv Vision.
Right.
It was destroying Broodlings, and I was able to use it in 2 different ways. I was using it as a defensive card, because once I knew what the archetype was, I could play down Cobra to say, you don't want to put a created card here. I know you have 17 different demons. If you put one down here, this is going to destroy that. Gorgon's there for the same exact reason. For all of the Victoria hand decks that are starting to swarm in the meta, Gorgon is interfering with those tremendously. So could you substitute either one of those out for something like, Jeff the Baby Landshark or Quake? Sure, absolutely. But as a C3 deck, it has the tech interference of Cosmo and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It has the full C3 shell built into it. And then you've got the wonderment that is Omega Sentinel at 4/3. So it's your only cost card that you have to worry about, higher cost card that you have to worry about with US Agent. But it hits other lanes, which is huge. So it's a better version of Claw because it's cheaper, synergizes with the Cerebro, and depending on when you want to proc it, you can get some really strong, large power out of that. There are variations I want to experiment with Affliction and C3 a little more so, because you could just as much put in Diamondback, you could put in Hazmat as well, kind of make C3, C2 as a backup plan. There's a couple of things you could do with this deck. And I felt very confident with Ghost Spider in there. Moving Cosmo as a surprise move was really fun. Did that a couple of times. It's a really strong deck and will definitely take people off guard. I highly recommend invest into Omega Sentinel. I think she is a very strong card in both Affliction as well as C3 right now.
I like this deck a lot, Guest. I mean, I didn't even think about this in C3, but you made some very valid points. Yeah, just solid list. I like it a lot. And like you said before about Ghost Spider being a 1/3 and just moving stuff.
Anything.
It doesn't matter what. Move your US Agent. Move, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Like, that stuff's going to catch you by surprise.
With no downside. It's not about moving something too rampant.
No
to get
power.
it's just big card.
Do you remember the 99 Problems with Airshim 8-1 deck that I had made whenever Airshim was everywhere? That deck had Ghost Spider in there, and I would just move. I had it specifically in there for Spider-Man 2099, but I would just move stuff. Like move your Darkhawk, do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it just throws people off. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, this deck is flawless. I like this a lot, and I think people watching and listening will definitely try this out and probably add something different towards it. But I think every piece here makes sense. Scarlet Witch turns off the crazy locations. Cosmo stops all the madness for you trying to turn off the Cerebros. Negasonic Teenage Warhead is the big surprise, along with the Sentinel. And, of course, Luke Cage is there to make sure that your cards stay at the 3 power. All right, so guess, what did you give Omega Sentinel?
I think right now Omega Sentinel is a solid platinum with a high ceiling to mess with. I think it could also scale higher. My only advice with this deck is be prepared to regularly want to play Cerebro on 5, because there's a lot of 2s, and very often I found myself going 2-drop plus Cerebro on 5 into Mystique, then followed by whether it would be Luke Cage, Cosmo, or Negasonic Teenage Warhead on 6. That's the play line for it. Felt incredibly strong.
I like that, because you can go Sentinel, Cerebro, or even U.S. Agent Cerebro on 5, or even Cobra. That's beautiful. No, love it. Good call. All right, so guys, take a screenshot.
It is always 2-drop then Cerebro.
Yes, that's
Cerebro,
right.
then 2-drop.
No. Who said that? Me or guest?
Guessed.
Yeah, I'm about to say, because I made sure I said Sentinel first.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I made sure I said those 2 cards first. Yes. So here's a screenshot. All right, make sure you guys go ahead and get that. All right, so now on to the next card that's coming out next week. I forgot. Oh, we had to talk about that card, right? And that is the one and only. Let me go ahead and pull it up on the screen for everybody to see. And that is the guy who, if you haven't seen X-Men 97 yet, shame on you, Bastion. He was the star of X-Men 97, and he is a Series 5 card on reveal. Add copies of your other cards here to your hand. Set their costs to 2 and their power to 3. Ladies and gentlemen, this is bananas. To me, I think it's bananas, right? The splits make sense now. The fact you can get copies of your cards here to your hand at a 2-3. What if here is consisting of things like, well, no, Iron Man is still a bit, well, if you get to Iron Man early, but think about the cards you can play and play him on 4 and have, that's bananas to me. I think this is going to be a phenomenal card. I'm giving this a straight double platinum out the beginning. I haven't just my preview score for it. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun, especially, again, you think about Victoria Hand, right? You think about those decks. This card is going to see play Victoria Hand on 2, this card on 4. You have all the things you need to do, even if you want to copy again another Victoria Hand, even though it's the same power, but think about it. The fact that you could do that, I think is pretty cool. Getting those cards back to your hand and then getting that buff from Victoria Hand, I think is going to be epic. I'm pumped, excited for this double platinum preview off the back. Gunny, how do you feel about this card next week? What do you think it's going to be?
I don't think this card could be anything less than platinum. There's going to be so many bonkers things people are going to do. Like, I don't know. It's wild. Like, those decks are already playing Quinjet, right? So now you're getting 1/3s, which is wild. There's so many, like, good card. I mean, just imagine this in, like, a small ball deck. If you're playing some cards with good on reveals. I don't know. This card, I can't see it being bad. I was even just thinking about this because you just push me off to C3. Like, this on C3 seems bonkers.
Yes, that's very true. Wow. Yep. All right. Gus, how do you feel?
Bastion seems like a card that everybody's going to love, and then no one's going to be able, well, no, I shouldn't say no one, but a lot of people will not figure out the right way to play it. Because to me, the cards that you want to bring back into your hand at 2-3 are very often cards that are just looking for continual power, right? You're looking to get another Victoria Hand back in your hand. Sure, for 2-3, that's great. But something like Ant-Man. Get another, drop Ant-Man down safely on 1, or turn 1, 2, or 3, knowing that you can get a 2-3 Ant-Man, so that's a 2-7 into your hand for the final 2 turns. that kind of stuff. You know, Dazzler gets a buff. Ongoing from Goliath gets a buff. A secondary move card with Mercury gets a buff. Like, these ongoing cards are ones that I think are going to be really interesting. But I even look at the 1-cost cards that I want to get duplicates of. Because it's a 4/3, it's a very awkward card. It feels like a card that only wants to have maybe one specific target come back in the hand. So maybe this is a synergy for, like you already mentioned, Cerebro 3. Absolutely loves this card. You play Ravona on 2, Cerebro on 3, and then you bring the Cerebro back as a 2/3 in your hand via Bastion. Awesome. You've got all the pieces already running and going. So something along those lines I think ends up being good. Maybe we see some shenanigans with like Mr. Fantastic or Patriot or like, you know, those other like 3-cost cards that want some chaos. I don't know. I'm not as high on this card as you are. I think this is a card that people want to have be good because of the association to X-Men 97, but I don't know how good it actually is going to be. I need to sit down more with this card.
Yeah, you got to think about all the other on reveals that you don't care about their power, right? To be a cheaper cost to be able to play that as well is something that you're looking into, right? You think about, even you said Ravona. So any of the on reveals. So, I mean, granted, let's take Zabu, for example. You want to play another cheaper Zabu down if you want to copy that card, or any other on reveal that you don't care about the power. You just want to make sure you have that ability to get played again for a cheaper cost. Back to the Ravona thing you mentioned. If you play
Ravona for a cheaper
2,
cost, though, it goes back into your hand.
Cheaper, not cheaper cost. Yes, at a cheaper cost. Yes, correct. So let's take a 3-cost card. Yeah, let's take Surfer, for example. You play Surfer down on turn 3. You play this on top of Surfer on turn 4. Now you have a 2/3 Surfer. Do you care that Surfer's 3 power?
Well, am I crazy? Did he keep saying 1-cost card and not 3-cost card? Because now he's talking about Surfer.
No. I meant on reveals. That's what I said.
Okay.
You're going to get the on reveals that you don't care about. I think
that was part of where I was like, thrown off by this.
Because you mentioned ongoing, and I agree with you. To get the Ant-Mans or the other ongoings and have that additional power makes sense. But what about the on reveals that you don't care about their power? You just want to be able to use that ability again, right?
I'm thinking like Forge, Captain Carter, Bastion.
Right, and then getting those cards back, and now you don't care, right? Or I was thinking what you just mentioned before too, Ravona into Iron Man on 4, Bastion on top of Iron Man on 5. So now on turn 6, you have a 2/3 Iron Man.
No, you don't.
Why not?
Oh, sorry, no. If you do Ravona, Iron Man on 4. Bastion.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
So, so
are you working too hard, though?
Maybe. But again, that deck would have to be built out to make sure that that's another way that you want to do that. Because working too hard, what do you mean? Because, again, a 2/3... Because, listen, what I mean by that is if you think about even the alternative would be Anti-Venom, right? Being able to get a 0-cost Iron Man will be your alternative. But if you're playing Ravona anyway, right? If you're playing Ravona anyway and you have Iron Man in your hand, why not play Iron Man in that lane, play Bastion on top of it? Now, Iron Man, Bastion, or whatever other card is there gets that buff. You get a 2/3 Iron Man for turn 6. Now you have a blast now on that other lane or whatever you else want to do with that 2/3 Iron Man. So, I mean, those are things to think about. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think we've mentioned the actual home of where this is going to end up outside of Cerebro 3, though.
Right.
I think it ends up being a discard and a Hella card.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
discard has a load of 3-cost on reveals that it wants to have happen targeted a second time. So you have your Lady Sif, you have your Swordmaster. Like, that's the kind of stuff I think that it wants to lean towards more, because it can do its effect again on turn 5 and still have a similar benefit. Even in the Hella lists that ran Jubilee, playing Jubilee on 4, that's 2 cards in that lane, get them back into your hand on turn 5,
right?
And then play a 2/3 Jubilee on 6. Like, that's I think more the direction I would end up going with this card. Even the swarms, technically, because you'd get a swarm, play it down on turn 2 if you have nothing better to do. Or if you don't have your Morbius down or your Collector down on turn 2, play the swarm. and then
This card seems great.
pick it back up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm like, this card is going to be a double platinum. And back to even you bringing up other stuff, even Jubilee. If you play Ravonna on 2, Jubilee on 3, right? And Jubilee pulls, for example, let's say Jubilee pulls Onslaught. Sebastian on both of those cards. Now you have an Onslaught. You can play Tribunal. You can do madness with that. I think it really depends on the deck you put it in. I think the fact you can get copies in your hand, regardless of the cost is good. Regardless of the power, I think is what I'm trying to get at. Because if you do turn 1 Quinjet, like Gunny said, turn 2 Ravonna, like you said, now it's a ball game. Now it's a wrap, right? Regardless of what's going on the next 2 turns, your turn 6 is going to be something else. So that's what I look at it as. Again, we'll see what happens when it actually does come out. We'll see who builds the list that can really utilize this. But yes, I agree with you, both of you guys. I think
is it
this
fair
card is
to say that? No, is this fair to say that this card's going to suck the week it comes out, though?
This card is going to suck the week it comes out.
Yeah, it'll take 3 weeks to get good.
Yes, because they got to figure out what they want to replace it with, what they want to do it with, right? What do you mean?
What happens when an affliction card comes out? What does everybody do?
Luke Cage.
When a cost reduction card comes out, what does everybody do?
Mobius.
Bingo. So everybody and their sister is going to be playing Mobius that week. That's why I'm saying the week that it comes out, I don't think it'll be its best stats. I think this will be a card that
surprise
just like
down the line.
Yeah. I think towards the end of the month, people will forget about it a little more. So it'll get better. Like doing your missions over the weekend. Yeah. This is one of those cards that you just say, unfortunately, if you're an Arishem player, this is a great week for you. Just play Arishem, throw this in it and get your achievement done because everybody's going to be playing Mobius.
That's true. That's fair. Good call on that. But yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what we get. And we're only getting 1 card next week, right? I'm not mistaken here, right? Let's see. September 9th
is not next week.
Yeah, no, September 9th.
Limited time game mode is later.
Yeah, so only 1 card next week. All right. We're looking pretty. All right, so Bastion. Let's get it. All right, so now, that was great, guys. I did enjoy that because I'm excited for all these wonderful cards. Now, before we dive into our next topic, which I know we can't wait to talk about, do you guys feel, seeing the future of these cards and the cards we have currently, is this the best season of 2025 in Marvel Snap?
So I don't remember what I did yesterday. Tuesday, I know I streamed.
Okay. But
Wednesday, I slept in a little bit, and then everything before that's a blur. So if you expect me to remember all of the cards over the last
not even all the cards,
months,
how you felt over the last 8 months, because I
felt exhausted. I'm a content creator as a profession, man. I mean that's all I can tell you. I have no idea.
Okay.
As a season launch, though, I think this is a solid season launch because it's diverse.
Okay.
That's as much as I can tell you. I don't think it's fair to compare it to all the others because the first release of the new system with,
5
extra cards being released in series 5 and 4 was also screwed up because that was the accidental release of Mercury, for example. And that was, I think we had 7 cards that ended up being released that week because of the screw ups. Like
Mercury and Helion.
There were, there were, I don't think you can count that one. And then the one after it was everybody still being mad about the spillover from Kid Omega and then the Super Premium Season Pass. And it's just like, this is the first season where like a lot of those like learnings have been applied. And then they said, here we go. Here's a good solid rhythm. 2 Series 4 cards. You have your 1.5 Series 5 cards. And then you have your Season Pass with the option of getting the other Series 5 in here instead. I think it's a great system. I think it's a balanced system. Gives you a lot of agency, a lot of choice. I think I don't think I can compare it to any other season.
Fair.
Tech, what do you think? Like, is this your favorite season?
So far, yes. My favorite one before this would have been the one with Nightmare. I definitely enjoyed that season a lot too. But right now, I think this season, looking at the cards that are coming out as well, and all the different things that we have, or archetypes that we're about to have take place, I really think this is the best season of 2025. And I can only compare, like last year, going into the Christmas season, we were all pumped and excited about the December season, and we felt that was the best season of 2024, which was the one that had the Rivals cards. because that brought in some other different changes. So we was like, this is the best season of 2024. So for me, I feel the same way about this season. I feel this is the best season of 2025, and we're not even done yet, right? We still have a couple more months to go, but I do feel this is the best one thus far.
It's a really interesting question, because your question is based on, do I think these cards make the best season? And that has very little to do with what I actually think about a season. I wouldn't say very little, right? But my best seasons are really like outside of it. Like, did I have enough time to play the game? Did I enjoy the deck that was really good, right? Like, I didn't play discard. So for like the first half of this year when discard was awesome, like I didn't get to play that deck because I didn't have all the cards. So really the best season for me in 2025 was May, because that was the launch of Golden Gauntlet, and that is awesome and I love it. And that's the next topic. So
that's right. Into it. That's right. So ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, Golden Gauntlet Worlds Q2, number 2. It's coming this weekend. That's right. It's going to be amazing live on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you guys seen the previous Golden Gauntlets, you already know the team behind it work very hard and tirelessly to make sure everything goes as smoothly as it can, and you guys are entertained to the max. And those wonderful gentlemen, including myself and, of course, Models, is here to discuss what we feel we're going to see happen this weekend on Golden Gauntlet World 2. Now, before we dive into that, Golden Gauntlet World 1, which was the APAC region, which happened almost a month ago, that one was a very interesting time, because for us on this side of the planet, it was a later shift from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. We stayed up. None of us were sleepy. We were excited. We were pumped.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. I'm sitting here cutting this short. 5 a.m. That would probably longer for guests. But nonetheless, the production was great. The team was awesome. The players were happy. Everyone had a blast. Shout out to everybody involved. Second Dinner, Game On, all the communities. And that event ended up being phenomenal. To even the winner running a Spectrum and Electra deck was like, what? The lists were phenomenal. We had a blast watching every match down to the wire. It was fantastic. And now we got to bring that stakes a little higher. Now we're in the North America region, where we have a plethora of players signed up and ready to go. I have a wait list just in case people can't make it. So now the numbers are to the max. People are ready to submit their decks. And we're going to sit here and try to break down 2 things. One, how do we feel going into the Golden Gauntlet? Are we excited to see what's going to happen? And as well, what decks or what archetypes we feel are going to be the outcome victor of this event. So first, I want to give props to Gunny T, where the T stands for tournament. Got to give Gunny his flowers. Gunny has been doing tournaments for as long as I've known him and beyond. Okay, Gunny is very professional, very knowledgeable, and very skillful in what he does, ladies and gentlemen. These events cannot run. I'm talking about cannot, full stop, without Gunny T's involvement and his knowledge in this arena. So, with that being said, Gunny, now that we're on our 100th Golden Gauntlet, it feels. How do you feel going into this weekend, getting ready for one of the biggest Golden Gauntlets this season thus far?
One of my favorite things about running tournament series is that you kind of come up with its own logistical flow for each series you're running, because each one's a little bit different. And I feel better than the last one. Every single Golden Gauntlet is just a little bit better, right? We have Models just killing it on the backside, making his own custom bots to automate the process for the players with the information that's going to be given to the casters. Guest has been doing a phenomenal job working on production in the back end and just making what the viewers watch so much better. We have phenomenal casters coming in. Like, we're learning so much through this, and it's just amazing. Like this, we have amazing mod team now that is killing it. We have 2 new people who were brought in. Not only are we still going with Destructive and Whiteway and Brady, we also brought in Kingpin and M8, 2 new mods for us, and those guys are doing awesome. So it makes our job just a little bit easier, and everything's getting smoother. By the time we're done with Worlds, Worlds going to be a piece of cake. I mean, not only are we only playing with players who have used Top Deck at that point, but even the FAQ, like we make slight adjustments every single time. We have a meeting that lasts for about 3 to 4 hours after every single tournament we run, and we just hammer out the process. Hey, where were the hiccups? How can we make this smoother? What were the questions that were asked? And it is. I do feel like this is the first time where we really hit our stride as far as tournament logistics go.
Definitely.
I feel like we have the right number of people on staff. We have the right people on staff. They're trained, right? We're at this point too, because we're working with such large numbers that we weren't working with before. We can, make a good FAQ that helps answer questions for us before they're even asked. Like this tournament felt really good preparing for, and it's just going to make for a smoother product on the back end.
Agreed. Totally agree. Guess, how do you feel going into this Golden Gauntlet?
Much more confident than, I think there were a lot of nerves and jitters going into the first one of the 3 qualifiers, because we had implemented a bunch of new systems, registration processes. We were expecting, a certain number of people. So we were like having anxiety over, getting the registration done the proper way and doing it efficiently. And we were, working out a bunch of the kinks in how we make all of this work. And we took a lot of those learnings, reapplied them, and into how we went into the second qualifier, and even stuff I learned from the first 2 solo events, and then throwing it into the first Golden Gauntlet qualifier for the World Championship. Now I feel like as a production side, it's much smoother for me to, update graphics and effects and details and like all that kind of stuff. I feel like is much easier to put out there into a manner that the community will enjoy. I think we got a lot of good feedback when it came to the production last time. Took some notes, little adjustments and some behind the scenes processes that I can make easier for myself. But in regards to what the people got to watch, the actual competition that they got to watch, I think it was a very successful event. And I think that going into this one as well, with some of the changes that we've made, it'll be another even more successful event. And I'm happy to see that even from the registrations that we got for this event, they increased from the first qualifier to the second qualifier. And I'm hoping the same happens from the second to the third, because now we have exclusive rewards for participating and making it to the Worlds in November. If you make it there, you get an exclusive custom made card back that is only being given out to the Golden Gauntlet Worlds finals event participants. And maybe if I poke the right people, maybe I'll get one too. But like that's what I'm hoping for. I got to try, because it's just really cool. And to know that there will be one person in the world that'll have an exclusive card back that literally nobody else does is actually kind of cool, and really just makes people hungry. And we saw it in the conversations in the chats too. Like, wait, there's an exclusive cosmetic. Oh, I wasn't going to participate, but now I am. And it's cool to see Second Dinner kind of leaning into that even further. So I'm appreciative.
Right.
I mean, you talking about exclusive. We're only having about 300 players qualify for Worlds. So that card back, even for qualifying, is going to be exclusive.
Yeah,
correct.
I don't even know which one. Obviously, all right, I would like the one and only better. But just like imagine pairing up against somebody that has the same card back as you for getting into Worlds. Like that's a fist bump from the get-go. Like, oh man, sweet.
It's about to be a match. Yeah. I agree. And I agree with both of you guys. Exciting to get into it. The fact that we have exclusive rewards is also huge. But I think just in general, guys, it is a tournament for the community. It's open, it's free to enter. It's nothing to really lose, and it's more to gain. You get to try out your skills by building and bringing your favorite deck into a tournament scene and have some fun doing it. That's the main goal, right? Have some fun, right? And you have nothing to lose and more to win. So now that we have these exclusive rewards, I think is even more to win. And I think the fact that you can get yourself out there to prove that your deck, your Electra Spectrum deck, means business, I think that's huge, guys. And I'm happy and pumped, excited. And not only that, you can get one of your favorite content creators to even cast your match. How would that feel, right? How does that feel?
So a lot of players that are in the realm, the people who are listening to this podcast are involved people, right? They're involved players. And you're just getting to share a space with tons of well-known players. KMBS is always jumping in chat, just making comments and stuff. And it's just so cool, you know, to know those people, get to see them, right? You're talking to myself, you're talking to Super Tech Guy, you're talking to guests. Like, there are people in the community you just get to interact with. I don't think normal players get to interact. And do you remember when I talked about before, I said that it has, like, our tournament server has this convention feel to it?
Yes.
For most people, playing Marvel Snap is a game you're doing, like, for the most part, I don't even have sound on. I'm doing it with no sound at all. I'm not talking to anybody. But you get to interact in this space with a bunch of other people who are just as excited about this game as you are. And it's just really cool. I've seen nothing but positive vibes on our Discord, and I invite people, even if you don't want to participate, you can jump in as a spectator and just chat with those folks and help them test their decks, do whatever. But I have had to convince a few people to just participate because they didn't think they were good enough. Like, to tell you the truth, to get 5-1, that's winning an Infinity Conquest, right? Most, you know, a lot of folks have done that, and even if it's just something that excites you in general, get to play the tournament, understand what that means. Like, what is top deck like? Maybe your expectation isn't to win the first one, but maybe you'll win next year. And, you know, we can't lead the horse too far here, but I think we have some big things coming in the future. And getting to know the tournament system better will only help you.
Yes, ultimately that's the goal, to be able to know the system and participate in the other events, future events, or even the current ones, will make you more knowledgeable in that space, so that when you're ready to do it, you're excited, you're pumped, and of course you're confident. Yep. And back to what Gunny said, yeah, some people I spoke to, not my brother, but my cousin, my brother's in it, he definitely signed up, he was pumped, he's ready to go. But my cousin was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to win. I'm like, what do you mean? Electra and Spectrum won the last tournament. Like, doesn't matter what cards you have, doesn't matter anything. And back to Gunny's point, it is a game of conquest. So if you have an Infinity Border, guess what? You can get to top 16 in these events. Think about it like that. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is, yes, have fun, guys. Have a blast. That is the key thing. Don't get too locked up. But again, if you come to the Discord and you hang out and you talk to people just like you can also practice and test out these decks prior to going into submitting that list. So I think it's huge to think about for the future events, or even now, that you guys, everybody has an opportunity, you have a chance. And if you're those guys that like to sit in the toilet and play Snap, you can join as well, ladies and gentlemen. You can play from any device at any time. So I can't wait to see what happens this week.
Yeah, by the time you're listening to this, registration has already been closed for the Golden Gauntlet Worlds Qualifier 2, but Golden Gauntlet World Qualifier 3 is happening in October. So keep your eye out. Look for that information on the social medias or on the official Discord. The official Discord is the best place to find up-to-date data about the tournaments happening. But there's still one more chance for you to qualify, get that exclusive card back, hang out with your favorite creators, and play your favorite game.
Agreed. Now, the thing that everybody wants to know, what deck lists or what cards or what archetype do you guys feel is going to take it all the way to the number one spot out of the cut of the Worlds 2?
Yeah, it's a great question on everyone's mind, including our tournament Discord chat.
Yes.
So I had one topic I actually wanted to bring up about this. So I've heard it talked about before that Untapped GG and, you know, other deck aggregate sites are a little bit skewed because it takes data from players who are actually using that website. So the mass majority of players are not using those websites. Generally speaking, they're the better players. You know, if you're the type of person that's using that kind of data, listening to podcasts, you imagine that you are a little bit more invested. You know a little bit more about what decks are out there, and you could probably play a little bit higher skill. That being said, I think I can agree with that normal ladder, you know, that data cannot be as accurate as possible. But I think for the tournaments, that data is actually a little bit more accurate. What do you two think about that? The data being a little bit more accurate because we are probably talking to invested players who are more likely to use that data.
I guess I'll let you take that first, because you've been quiet the whole time. It's the first time we make guests be quiet, ladies.
No, I thought you were going to respond, honestly. I always have too much to say. I do think that I agree with you. I do think that specifically those who are on the competitive side that are participating in these tournaments more often than not have also invested into content or more ways to engage with the game outside of just playing the game and registering for a tournament. I think that they take in videos, they, play it extensively on phone as well as on PC. I do think that there is that increased activity, which creates increased knowledge, and the want to learn more results in taking in of all of these other outlets of information. So I agree with you that I think the players that are using deck trackers in Infinite, for example, when we look at, statistics, we see the Infinite players, a lot of Infinite players register for the tournaments. And it's one of the things that I know we're tracking this time with players that fill out their questionnaires to see what is the rank, the collection level, as much information as we can collect about a player going into an event, so we can kind of, take that data and learn from it and grow the event based on that too. So what I love about the deck tracker conversation in this is, because we had this conversation at length in the very beginning of this of like, do we permit them? How can we control it if we don't, etc. And I think preparing for a tournament is just as important as participating in it, and using the information that is out there on different tracker sites is more relevant than any other information you'll see out there, because it is showing high activity players and what's popular amongst them more so than what's necessarily better. But this is a better chance of giving you a proper reflection of what you're more likely to see. So
fair point.
I like it.
I agree with you. I think I understand people saying it's skewed because majority of people might be playing on mobile that don't have trackers, or the better players aren't using trackers. Either way, I agree. The fact you can get some type of data regardless from these sites will kind of show you exactly what is winning, what's losing, what's better, what's not, even if it's a small percentage, right? Because back to what you said, the people that are using Untapped and Snap.fan and these other wonderful trackers, they are going to be in the tournament. They are players that play this game more than you can think about. So I do believe that these numbers aren't skewed as much as you think it is. I think they are actual numbers, especially when it comes to the Golden Gauntlet. So with that being said,
so that kind of leads me off onto how I want to lead this conversation. So I want to talk about the top 4 decks. What do you think is an appropriate rank number to be looking at here? Because I'm kind of teetering between Infinite, but I'm not certain, a lot of players have made Infinite by this point, or 90 to 100. I don't think I want to drop lower than 90.
As far as the players go, or the decks?
I'm looking at Untapped. I want to pull data.
Oh,
so I'm going to talk about the top decks.
Okay.
I think such a short season, you're looking at 80 and higher. Typically, players are at least trying to climb at least one rank. Right. And if they've had one day to play and they're an invested player, they're a skilled player, getting up one rank, I think is a fair statement. It's a decrease in the amount of bots. Right. Going from 70 to 80 specifically is a huge decrease in bot play. You will still see it in 80s and see it very little in the 90s. But I think if you're looking for general activity, so win rate, because when looking at data, I also for preparing for a tournament, remember that win rate is more important than cubes, because you are looking at consistency more than how big of a win did you get.
Cubes, right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, and I believe. Go ahead, Gunny. You want to say what?
Finish your topic.
No, I was going to dive into the cards now that I feel we're going to see the most of. And
do you want to start with that, or do you want to talk about the decks that I'm seeing via the data?
Oh yeah, let's go. I want
to see how that marries up.
Okay.
Actually, why don't you talk about the cards first? Because you're not looking at data. I'm interested to see if you marry up to what the data is showing.
Perfect. That's what my thought process. So minus Shang-Chi, right? Let's take the tech card out. What cards I think we're going to see the most in the tournament that's going to be most successful, I'm going to have to go with Mercury and Cannonball. I think those two cards are going to be the most successful going into this event. Minus the Shang-Chi, that's what I'm going to. Mercury, Cannonball. So any package you want to put them in, whether it be hand buff, whether it be the Annihilist package, I think Cannonball and Mercury, they're going to be the ones that we'll see the most of, because not only does Mercury stop the move decks, right? So Mercury, Shang-Chi, Stardust, Cannonball. I think those 4 cards alone, you can sit back and say, okay, that can control whatever else your opponent's trying to do. You can think about the Enchantresses, the Red Guardians, and I don't think Shadow King is even going to be thought about. But you can think about those other 2 cards in the list. But I think those 4 alone, or 3, Mercury, Stardust, and Shang-Chi, I think those cards alone in those packages are going to go bananas. I think that's going to be one of the lists that we see make it, or some of the lists at least makes to the top 16. What cards you got over there, Guess? Because you seem happy and excited.
Normally, when we do this, and we're talking amongst each other, we're looking at the meta, we're looking at the competition, and how people are going to counter against it, etc. And exactly, literally, what you just did. I am going to make a bold prediction.
Okay.
Because it's not bold, but sounds bold.
Let's hear it.
I think at least 2 of the top 4 run Quicksilver.
So we thinking Wiccan is about to go ham. Okay, I'm with you.
Yes,
I like that.
I think
like
that the Wiccan, the Wiccan shells, because the prominent way you can play Wiccan decks is with a load of buff, affliction, or control. And the increasingly popular Quicksilver into Domino, into insert 3-drop name here, into insert 4-drop name here. It's stupid strong. And I'm also really hoping that that isn't true, because from a production standpoint, nothing says entertainment like the first 2 turns of every single game being the same 2 cards repeatedly.
Domino.
So it's a legitimate concern I'm having, and something I have to talk to the casters about, to say, hey, listen, be ready to have a different type of conversation if we're showcasing one of these blank decks. I want you to lean more towards this and talk about that. This is the stuff on the back end that, hopefully the community doesn't fully have to understand, but it can be boring as hell. Let's be honest here.
I can't wait.
But I truly think that if you look at the win rate, you look at the consistency, and you look at the diversity of the archetypes, I think one of the most played cards and one of the most successful cards will be Quicksilver. Because it enables the Quicksilver, Domino, Wiccan deck. And out of those 3, I think Domino's the first to get cut. And then, oddly enough, I think it would be Wiccan to be the next to get cut. I think Quicksilver ends up having a higher presence and in more decks than Wiccan.
And those 2. Wow.
And I've never in a million years ever thought that would be the case. But I think that's the meta we live in.
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm looking at the data. So I don't want to
pull it up for you too if you want me to.
There's only one card that I will claim, because I thought about this before I even saw the data. I think we're going to see Cosmic Ghost Rider in top 8 in a tournament setting.
I'd agree with that.
I think Cosmic Ghost Rider has so many good targets that's going to give you snap equity that it is going to sell itself. Like, think about it. Victoria Hand's really popular. Victoria Hand's often played in the front lane. You have any of the discard stuff. Normally have what's it called? Normally have your Morbius. Morbius played in the front lane. Anything with ongoing gets crushed by Cosmic Ghost Rider. So I do think Cosmic Ghost Rider is gonna make an appearance for us. Even against Surfer, there's some great Surfer targets to hit in the front lane.
I totally agree with that, and I agree with you 100%. I think you're right. Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to be one of those tech cards that do some real good damage. And if you look at this right here on the screen that we're sharing, based on player rank 80 to 100 plus, should I remove the 100 plus, leave it 80 to 90?
No, just leave it 100 plus. It's fine, because it's 30 days of statistics.
Right. If you look at this, end of turn is considered the top archetype.
Well, don't go to 30 days. 30 days.
No, it's not 30.
It's the only option.
For the matchups. I'll go back to the tier list shortly. But for the past 30 days, end of turn, Victoria Hand, as you mentioned just now, Gunny, even Surfer, some of these cards that are sitting in the front, they're the ones that you want to hit the most, right? Because these are the cards you play early. The Sunspots, right? The Hydro Bobs, the Thenas, the the Fantastic Four, Mrs. Fantastic, or even Mr. Fantastic, the Marvel Boys. Like, those are the cards you want to hit regardless. So I totally agree. I think Cosmic Ghost Rider does see more play than expected in this tournament. Now, if we go ahead and look at the tier list, we'll go ahead and pull up the last 7 days. Pool 3, 80 to 100 rank. And you see the top archetype right now is Cerebro 2, which is intriguing to see. And that is because of these awesome lists here. So we mentioned Cerebro earlier. Cerebro 2 is one of the strongest one out of the whole Cerebro package. Do we see a lot of Cerebros in the tournament? What do you guys think?
I don't like this data. I like pulling up decks.
Okay, so let's go to decks.
Yeah, let's go decks. Go last 7 days, because that's when the OTA happened. So you could either do last OTA or 7 days works as well.
Yep. I'll wait for this to... Did it do it already? Yeah, yes, it did. It is, because it's not Cerebro. Yes. Okay. Right. And the last 7 days...
Collection level, like, filter that out, because that gets weird, too.
What do you want it to be?
6,000 plus. 6,000 plus.
Oh, okay.
Those are the players that are going to be in the tournament, right?
Right. Okay. Let's go ahead
and win rate instead of game count.
Okay.
All right. This data, I think, this is kind of where I think our tournament data is looking like, right?
Right. Yep.
So
they go to Quicksilver.
Top. Got your Quicksilver there. Lady Deathstrike's an interesting option there.
Oh yeah, I've been struck by it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Victoria hand. This is the hand buff is going to be bananas.
Do we think? And this is really the question. We don't need to look at the cards in this. Let's look at the archetypes.
Right.
Do we think this right here looks like the top 4 of the Golden Gauntlet? Do you think you see a Victoria hand? Do you think you see...
Really? I think Victoria hand is the strongest.
Do you think we see end of turn, and do you think we see Surfer?
End of turn for sure. Surfer, I think you put below her and you put move there. So I don't see move yet, but I think the top 4 is going to be move, Victoria hand, Wiccan, and end of turn.
I like this this snap deck, the second one there, and I think I like Cosmic Ghost Rider over that Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah, agreed. I totally agree.
I think based on all of the different stuff that we see being relevant over the last 7 days, it's a good starting point. But the decks that make it to the top have already done exactly what we're doing. And they're preparing for it. They're preparing to say, these are the more popular, higher performing decks that a lot of people may potentially bring in. Okay, how can I prepare for them? I think Cosmic Ghost Rider is 100% a card that ends up in the top 4 simultaneously. What people are going to want, and which is one of the other reasons why I think Quicksilver and Domino are going to be incredibly successful cards, is because it protects a lane. You play them both in the same lane, and you can do your effects and not have to worry about somebody else's Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is going to be relevant in this tournament.
Yeah.
I expect to see that strategy implemented heavily in the higher performing decks in Golden Gauntlet. In regards to archetypes, though, Victoria Hand, you're going to see a lot of people want to play Victoria Hand, so you're probably going to end up seeing a bunch of people wanting to play Killmonger for the same reason. Killmonger is a very strong card up against both End of Turn and Victoria Hand, and a lot of decks are not leaning into 1-drops outside of getting the demons to drop at a later play. So if you can play around it and throw priority, then yeah, sure, that's something you should play into. But otherwise, this is a good starting point, what you have on the screen.
Yeah.
But I do expect to see a move deck in the top 4. I expect to see 2 Wiccan, Quicksilver, Domino decks in the top 4, and then something that we did not expect. I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to say that's my wild card. Is going to be the 4th deck.
Not expecting that. I said just like ongoing deck, we were not expecting.
Spectrum Electra, yeah. No one ever saw that one coming, but
what do you think about Afflict? Do you think Afflict will make it in the top 8?
It's too risky.
Yeah, no.
To dedicate a whole
negative
deck around the idea of do you have Luke Cage in your build? No? Okay, good. We win.
No.
That's an important part to point out as well when you're thinking about a tournament deck is, can your deck get completely hosed by one card? If the answer is yes,
You're not playing it.
That's
negative.
a rough one.
Same thing.
Yeah, negative, Electra, Hella. Yeah. But I think for sure we see one of these top 4. I mean, Stardust, even Silver Surfer First Steps, guest said this the most. We don't know how to play this card yet, and I think we figured it out. Because playing her with Shuri into the Fallen One is like the best thing ever. Now, do you think we see the Fallen One? Do you think we see a Surfer package with the Fallen One make it to the top 16? Because just like Wiccan, being able to get extra energy, what do you think? Because Fallen One, I think, falls in that cat. Well, not really fall in the category, but I think Cosmic Ghost Rider for sure is going to be there, and I think Stardust too.
I think Fallen One makes an appearance in the top 16, but
okay.
I don't expect it to get to the top 4.
Too far. Fair enough. So this is it. Top 4, we feel it's going to be these type of archetypes. End of turn for sure. We can guarantee say that. The move deck, we can guarantee to say that. And the Wiccan deck, we can guarantee to say that. The Victoria Hand and Surfer, we're still up in the air. Even though I think Victoria Hand is going to be powerful.
There's a Cosmic Ghost Rider deck just a little bit further down, and I think that looks like a really strong build. Can you scroll down for me a little bit? Right.
Yeah.
Next one down. Next
Viv Vision? Oh.
Oh, I guess it's pretty much the same thing. The one you were just looking at.
The Viv Vision one?
No, not
Wiccan?
not the Viv Vision one. I don't like the Viv Vision one. I like
a little further
that one. And so something important to point out here is this is at 58.4. The top deck is, I'll look myself. The top deck is 60.4. That is 2%, right? 2% different. But this deck answers so many questions, and you have such a good turn 6 play. You're either playing one of your 4s and a 3, or you're gonna play. You can play a 4 and a 4 and a 3, or you can play a 6 and a 2. Right? You got either Alioth or Galactus. This looks like a strong build to me. It's
how you get a 4 and a 3?
So many questions.
What's giving you extra? Wiccan. Yeah.
So I want to talk about this style of list. So for those who are on the audio side, the list that we're looking at right now is Quicksilver, Merlin, Domino, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Speed, Mobius and Mobius, Copycat, Wiccan, Stardust, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Alioth, and Galactus First Steps. So this is it. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is a build that was just featured on KM Best.
Was it?
I think it was a KM Best video.
Maybe.
Talking about this build. I'm pretty sure of it. Otherwise, it's maybe one card off. But I ended up evolving, I should say, into a build that was very similar to this. I had done some experimentation with some deck building archetypes and trying to figure out what I want to do with this, that, the other. And one of the things I do want to point out is Galactus First Steps. I don't think Galactus First Steps is going to be a relevant card in this specific tournament because Galactus First Steps gives your opponent information. And for the same reason that you don't see Rulk often in tournament play anymore, I don't think you see Galactus First Steps either, because you're revealing to your opponent, hey, I have this card in my hand, you need to be aware of it, and hey, it's at this power every time. I don't think that that's information I would want to give if I were going into a tournament setting, because information misbalance is incredibly important.
How do you feel about Emperor Hulkling? How do you feel about Emperor Hulkling in that spot kind of what?
So I tried that. Right? Yes, and I tried exactly that. I didn't have 2 6-drops. I only had 1 6-drop in one of the variations I tried, and I tried Emperor Hulkling specifically. And maybe twice out of 20 games, I felt like it was relevant. I didn't find that to be as consistent. So what I ended up doing, at least with that build, was I took the same ideas and evolved it by just having the Quicksilver and the Domino as my 1 and my 2, which then leaves me 10 cards left in the deck. So because of the way that the game works, you got to think of it like this, because I think a lot of people are going to play Wiccan decks, and I think it's important to discuss this in a slight little bit more detail. When you're doing Quicksilver, Domino, Wiccan, you need to think about, am I able to draw a 3-cost card into a 4-cost card? So the minimum, I should say, number of 3-cost cards you need to have in your deck to ensure that you have a 3-cost card get drawn by turn 3 is technically 7. And that's just way too much to invest into, because you only draw 3 cards plus Quicksilver for the opening hand, then you get Domino, and that's 11 cards right there. So you need to guarantee a 3-cost card to go into a 4-cost card. And the more that I started testing with how many 3s, can I get away with only 4 3 drops? Can I get away with, do I need to have 7 and go all in? I think 6 ended up being the sweet spot. And then I was able to say, okay, I have 3-cost cards. I have 6 of them. I want to play Wiccan. I want to play Gwenpool. I want to play Silver Surfer First Steps as one of my 3s. That only left me 2 spots up at the top to determine what I wanted to play in that other spot. So you're looking at Stardust, you're looking at Cosmic Ghost Rider, you're looking at your Alioth, that's where people are going to have their individuality in their deck. But the only thing that really made the deck feel like it went over the top and was something really good was when I added in Hope Summers, because it gave another out to not needing Merlin, but still maintain curves and give me extra energy in a more secure manner. Right. I tried, I settled on speed. I agreed with speed. I settled on Mobius and Copycat. I agree with both of those. Silver Surfer First Steps, absolutely fantastic for making all of those 4 drops that do special things happen multiple times, like Gwenpool or Wiccan. And then my flex cards, I settled on Stardust, Legion, because they were cheaper. So I wasn't as worried about, am I going to get my 6-cost card down? And if so, what else am I playing it with? Or am I just wasting energy? I ended up taking out Cosmic Ghost Rider on ladder, but I might reconsider putting it back in for Legion if I were in a tournament setting. But Legion did so much cheating, several games. It's such a forgotten card. My 12th card, which I could say is probably going to be anything for anybody, I ended up settling on Jean Grey, because the ability to go Quicksilver into Domino into Jean Grey all in one lane, they think I'm building game plan A. Actually, I'm building game plan X, because now I just have to play anything in that lane, and then for 2 solid turns, I have extra energy. I can keep my curves. I have a lot of power. I can cheat out, and they're stuck
playing in that
Jean Grey lane. And that ended up being really strong for me. So I think there's some fun things that can happen with this archetype. And if you want to dedicate those 3s and make it a true surfer combination build, as in classic surfer, sure. It was something instead of Jean Grey I debated about, having surfer be an extra card in here, because then I can drop Legion plus surfer on turn 6. There's some crazy stuff you could do with that too. But I think that it's too flexible right now of a shell, and it is going to make make up half of the top 4.
Wow. All right, so we got our top 4s. Who's winning it all, guys? I want to hear your archetype. Who's winning? Who's going number 1 in the Worlds 2?
The Quicksilver deck
here. I'm going to cheat. The winning deck is going to be one that we didn't even talk about.
Okay. Guess.
I think we're going to be surprised again.
I won't be.
Not, that's fair.
I won't be surprised, because it's going to be a Quicksilver, Domino, Wiccan deck. That will be 3 of the cards of the winning deck.
Okay.
I called it with Agamotto. I'm calling this one too.
Okay. Quicksilver, Wiccan. That's where you're going. Gunny says the deck that nobody thought about with this top 4. I'm going to go with End of Turn, guys. I think End of Turn is still powerful. I think End of Turn will surprise people. I think they will figure out a way to stop the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and that End of Turn deck is going to be unstoppable. So I'm going to End of Turn. We'll win it all.
Okay.
All right. So you guys heard it here first. You let us know what you guys feel. Are we bugging? Are we coping? Are we on the right path? If you guys are in the tournament and you guys are watching this, yeah, you get to submit your deck after the fact, right? Because Deadline is tomorrow evening. This should be out in the morning. Nonetheless, don't take our ideas. We don't want to be responsible for you guys losing. Okay, so make sure you guys build your deck, have it the way you have it, and be ready to compete. Now, before we go, I don't know, guys. I think the next tournament, we said, is in October. The Worlds is in November, right? What do you guys want to see as the turnout for the final qualifier? Do you guys want to see double what we have right now? Do you guys want to see less than what we have right now? What is your take on how you guys feel about the next one after this?
I want to see 1,011 people register.
I like that number. That number's pretty good. 1,011. Gunny?
I want to see 2,200 register.
Jeez. I'm going straight 1024 because that's my birthday. So October 24th, I want to see 1024 people sign up.
All right.
Wow.
I'm excited.
All right, guys. So again, thanks. I appreciate you being here, Gunny, as always. Guess I'm happy that you're about to put on a show this weekend, and I cannot wait for that as well. And we catch you guys in the next one. Peace.